Cyclone Biparjoy has developed into an extremely severe cyclonic storm and is likely to make landfall along the Saurashtra Kutch coast on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a high-level meeting today to review the preparedness as evacuations in the coastal districts of Gujarat have begun. The Prime Minister asked officials to take every possible measure to ensure that people living in vulnerable locations are safely evacuated. The Gujarat government has declared holidays for schools in coastal Kutch, Jamnagar and 2 other districts in Saurashtra region as a precautionary measure. NDRF and the SDRF teams have been deployed. The Indian Met Department has issued a red alert for parts of West Gujarat, including the Kutch region.
While, from today evening, it will also start slightly weakening, and when it will cross, it will be around, it will be again very severe cyclonic storm with a wind speed of 125 km to 135 km, gusting to 150 km.
देखिए, अगले 3 दिन में चक्रवात है वो गुजरात के कोस्टल एरिया में हिट करने की पूरी संभावना है। खासकर जो सौराष्ट्र रीजन है वहां के 6 जिले हैं वो रेड अलर्ट पर रख दिए गए हैं और गुजरात सरकार ने भी 6 मंत्रियों को वहां पर अलग अलग जिले में भेज दिया गया है और राउंड द क्लॉक है वो मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं। अभी जो लेटेस्ट जानकारी मिली है उसके मुताबिक कल से जो कोस्टल एरिया के नजदीक रहते हैं 0 से 5 किलोमीटर के रेंज में, वहां से उनको सलामत स्थान पर ले जाया जाएगा और इस तरह की तादाद होगी वो हजारों लोगों की होगी। अभी है वो बारिश है वो कुछ जिलों में शुरू हो गई है और जो पवन भी है वो जोरों से चल रहा है। खासकर जो समंदर की लहरें है वो भी 15 से 20 फीट ऊंची है वो जा रही है। तो हम कह सकते हैं कि काफी भयानक है वो साइक्लोन आने की पूरी संभावना है, जो पहले कराची की ओर जाने वाला था लेकिन अब वो कच्छ के जखौ जो बंदर है वहां पर हिट करेगा और उनका दायरा है वो पूरे सौराष्ट्र के कोस्टल बेल्ट को कवर कर लेगा। तो सरकार ने पूरी की पूरी है तैयारी कर ली है। खासकर कच्छ जिले में धारा 144 भी लगाई गई है और स्कूल कॉलेज है वो अगले 3 दिन तक बंद रखने का भी आदेश दे दिया है। तो हम कह सकते हैं कि तूफान बहुत ही भयानक होने वाला है, लेकिन इसकी कम से कम असर हो, कम से कम नुकसान हो, इस तरह की तैयारी भी गुजरात सरकार ने कर ली है। जी।
And joining me now to take this forward is Vishwas Chitale, Senior Program Leader at Council on Energy, Environment and Water. Vishal, let me begin by asking you, what could be the possible impact of this cyclone, its intensity? Give us a sense of how the regions affected could be impacted.
Thank you, Parikshit. Yeah, talking about Biporjoy or Biporjoy, now, as you have already mentioned, that it is classified as extremely severe cyclonic storm, and it is likely to have impacts in Saurashtra and Kutch. So now we are talking about a storm that is going to hit with 120 to 140 kilometers per hour speed. Not only with the wind, but also it's going to bring a lot of rough sea conditions, as well as a strong storm surge of 2 to 3 meters, along with a heavy rainfall in the areas or low-lying areas of Kutch, Devbhoomi, Dwarka, Porbandar, Jamnagar and Morbi. Also, as we can see from IMD's bulletin that was issued yesterday, they are predicting that total destruction of Kacha houses as well as some damage to Pakka houses, bending and uprooting of electricity as well as communication poles, and severe damage to standing crops in these areas. So we are we are already looking at economic damage, a severe economic damage in these districts in Gujarat, including Kutch and Porbandar.
Right. Vishwas, I would also like to ask you, do you think enough early warnings have been given to people to move out of this area in order to minimize the damage?
Yes. Also, Dr. Pal from IMD earlier mentioned that, also PM held a very high-level meeting, and also the state has been very active in responding to this. A lot of preparedness actions have been taken. But I would like to mention a few things that we have observed in the in past 2 decades in terms of cyclonic trends. So in order to enhance the preparedness, we really need to understand these evolving trends in the cyclones. There has been more than 50% increase in the frequency of tropical cyclones in past 2 decades in Arabian Sea. So now we are talking about increasing duration, increasing energy, as well as increasing intensity of cyclones. which will definitely need to be considered when we prepare for these kind of climatic disasters. Also, if we see the duration of very severe cyclone is increased by more than 260%. Now we are talking about more than threefold increase in terms of like intensity of especially severe and very severe cyclones, which means that they are going to cause even more damage, and we will need to be even better prepared in order to remain like, increase the resilience of communities in these areas.
Right. Vishwas, the G20 this year is also focusing on disaster resilient infrastructure. Give us a sense of how we are now prepared to deal with the impacts of cyclones like these, of this magnitude.
Yeah, thanks, Parikshit. Of course, this is the first year when a working group on disaster risk reduction is formed, and that too, it is under India's presidency in G20, which is a kind of a moment of pride for all of us. So in these discussions, of course, there has been a lot of discussion on how to increase the preparedness budget allocated in different countries in G20, including in India. And especially if we look at India's preparedness budget, which is approximately right now around 10% of its overall budget on disaster risk management, which, in my view, it needs to be definitely increased to a certain justifiable amount in order to increase the preparedness, because that is going to be the key in these discussions when we talk about disaster resilient infrastructure, or increasing the early warning systems, or even increasing the dissemination of information from different early warning systems. Also, like if we really see when we talk about,
Right. And how long, Vishwas, will we see the impact of this cyclone?
So as we can see, current prediction, of course, 3 days back, we were talking about the cyclone heading in some other direction. Now it has changed directions in past 3 days. And now it is going to impact Kutch and Saurashtra. But expected heavy landfall is mostly around 15th and 16th of June, as we can see from the IMD bulletins. But it is very interesting to see, or it will be very crucial to see, like in 2021, when Taukte cyclone hit or made his landfall in the similar parts of Gujarat, it was expected that the intensity of cyclone will go down, but which did not happen as expected. And the cyclone really continued until like north of Gujarat, also including Rajasthan and other parts. So, that prediction did not go well, but we will really have to see how this prediction goes well as far as the cyclone is concerned now.
Right. Vishwas, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for joining us, explaining us the impact of Cyclone Biparjoy, how well prepared we are, and what we need to do for future as well. We'll keep an eye out for the impact of this cyclone and how it affects the regions as well. We're heading into a short break, but coming up, the